Hey everybody, it's John from Seattle Coffee Gear. I'm here in the commercial kitchen, and today we are doing a crew review on the new Atom Pro that's going to be from Eureka Grinders. It's a little bit more of a high-end specialized grinder that they've come out with, and we're pretty excited for it as kind of a multi-function piece for use in a cafe or a high-end home. So let's jump in and talk about it. This is probably most similar to the Atom 75 in motor size and burr size, but that's about it. That's pretty much where and case, but that's pretty much where the similarities end. So if you notice on the front here, it's pretty much just a start-stop switch. And if you hear that sound, that's because on the back here, it has a cooling fan built in to keep the motor cool. So you can run this pretty much non-stop and not have to worry about it overheating. So duty cycle and all that sort of stuff is going to be a lot better. You can grind more back to back on a grinder like this. We're going to take out the burrs a little bit later, but this is a new burr set in this grinder. It's different than the one in the Olympus 75 and also in the Drogueria models. So we'll get a look at that later. Pretty excited about that burr set. It also has this dial here. It's a little bit larger dial. Let me lean this down so you can see that. So a little bit larger dial. A little bit easier to use. We have some tape on there just marking whatever setting we had it at. And it is a single revolution. So 0 is pretty much the burrs touching up to probably past French press. They're at about 20. We have it around 10, and that's what we've been using for like a V60, getting good results for that. And then down to like the 4, 3, 2, 1 range. That's great for espresso. We did use this in the GS3 MP review, so we used it for espresso there. I will do a little bit of single dosing with it today just so we can talk about the retention of the grinder. But it also has this cool little magnetic piece, which I almost wish came on more grinders. Just locks in like that, super sturdy, but it can hold a portafilter out there like that. Lift it up there. It can hold like a little pitcher. You can flip it around if you want to do that for some reason, but it's mainly designed to go like that. And there's also a different one that is designed to hold like a little basket, but I prefer this, especially because we use it more for espresso and just doing pour overs. But I find it's almost easier to just kind of set your container right there. But again, it does have a pretty good hold there. And then the power switch, the main power switch is on the side here. It looks pretty robust. That powers the whole thing on. And then again, your start-stop switch on the face of it, because I still have some coffee in there. It does have this cool smoked black hopper as well, and then that blow-up system from Eureka, which just helps to eliminate a little bit of retention there. So now that we've talked through some of the features of it, again, 75mm burrs, similar motor to some of their other grinders, but it does have that cooling fan on it. Why don't we grind some coffee? We can talk about retention and single dosing and use it for some different settings. So I'll grab some coffee, some more coffee, and then weigh some stuff out, and then we'll do some grinding. So for the purposes of our weighing, we're just gonna use this coffee from Intelligentsia, a nice Burundi. Very sweet, very round. I was enjoying it earlier when I was making a V60 of it, so just to show you that. And then I was using about 22 grams or so. Pull more of that out. Okay, so 22. Perfect, 22.1 is what I have right here. So I'm gonna turn this on, make sure there's nothing else in there. I'm gonna turn it off for now. And then I'm just gonna do it like I would normally use it if there's a hopper gate, where I close that gate, turn on the grinder, and then open the gate. Just gonna make sure that I have all my beans out of there. A couple pumps of that. And 21.6 grams out. So about a half of a gram retention left in there, which is really not too bad, but let's see if we can get the rest of that out. Yeah, so we got a little bit more. Overall, that's not a ton of retention. This is not a vertically or angled burr set. This is still a similar flat burr set to what is in their espresso grinders. So there is going to be a little bit of retention in there, but for the most part, it's pretty minimal like I just showed you here. And even earlier when I was doing some pour overs, I was getting the exact weight out that I was putting in. So very close in our experience here. So why don't I pour this out on a plate? You can see some of the grind quality, and then we'll also go down to espresso because I know that's what a lot of people are interested in about this grinder. So here's the grounds at that kind of V60 like setting, and pretty consistent in our experience. And the coffee that I did get off of this was very sweet, very round. Not a lot of mess, not a lot of static here, which is nice. Yeah, there is a decent amount of fines. I find that because this is a good grinder for espresso, when you get out to these coarser grind settings, there are a little bit more fines than something that was just for brewing or for pour over. But again, this is pretty good for pour over, and I've been really happy with the results, as has the rest of our team with this grinder. But yeah, because it's a multi-purpose grinder, you are going to have some fines when you get to the coarser settings, but let's crank it down to espresso and see what we get there. Let's talk about espresso with this grinder. Again, I have 20 grams of coffee in this little pitcher here. I have this cranked down to about setting 2. I haven't tested that, so I'm not sure what that'll look like, but let's just look at retention and see what we get here. So again, close that hopper gate. And here we go. Couple stragglers there. As you can see, I'm definitely getting some coffee out of it with that blow up hopper. And let's do a little more. Just about 18 grams, so about 10% retention on that example there. Let me pour some of this out so we can look at it. The way that I was using it in the GS3 MP video was I was kind of, if I was going to change to a different coffee, I would kind of purge a little bit of coffee through it, like you would do for a cupping, and then I would overdose just a little bit to get to my target weight. So I think if you taste the coffee off of this grinder, it does make up for some of that retention. But let's just get a look at this espresso grind here. So very fluffy, which is what we've come to expect from the Eureka grinders. Yeah, very fluffy, very consistent. Just pretty impressive from a grinder that was doing great pour over and now doing this espresso as well. All right, let's go ahead and look at the burrs on this and just show some of the differences compared to the standard burrs. So let's go ahead and look at those. So here is that burr set that I was talking about. It almost looks similar to some of like the Mahlkönig burrs that I've seen. Very different from their usual design. And the bottom burr is actually a specialized burr. If you see, it has these little kind of extra bumps there. So Eureka spent a lot of time developing this burr set for this grinder. We've really been enjoying the results that we've seen from it, but still works in the exact same way, where this is the upper burr carrier that gets seated right on top there. And then this doesn't move, just the bottom moves, and that's where your adjustments are. So I can take this all apart and not lose where my adjustment was. So we'll put it back together and wrap up the video. All right, so I got all the burrs back in the grinder, and we kind of talked through all the main points of that. Again, it's the Atom Pro grinder from Eureka, similar to their other grinders, but a little more specialized with that start-stop switch, bigger dial, has the fan on the back to keep the motor cool, smoke black hopper, the bellows system or the blow-up system, and then again that redesigned burr set. So we're pretty excited for this grinder. It's definitely a specialized tool, so be ready to experiment with it somewhat if you're considering this grinder. It is going to take a little bit of a learning curve to getting used to it, to finding your grind settings and all that. But for the burrs that are in it and the coffee it produces, we've been really happy. The GS3 video that we did, the coffee we were brewing in that, the espresso I had in that was some of the best espresso I've had in a while. And this is what we've been using for V60s and stuff like that here at the office. So check it out on our website. Look for more videos this will be featured in. Check out that GS3 video as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have questions about coffee equipment, opening up a coffee shop, give us a call. We'd love to talk with you. Drop us a comment if you have questions, like the video, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.